Oh, this is a video. Daddy. Cute. Okay.
Recording.
Okay, well, we're in Boston as fuck. And it's our cute little red car. It's fire engine red because we have to alert these bitches that we're here. And we're about to live in the car for 5 hours because we don't check into our hotels until 3.
Okay, that's about right. That's about where we are in life right now.
That's the vibe.
Mood. Peche.
You're shooting? Oh. We just went to Club Cafe, not Club Life. Different. Very different. So many rooms. Lots of hallways. Like the game Clue. Kind of like that, where there's like 9 rooms. And 17 different ways to get everywhere. But it was cute. Lots of white, lots of gay, lots of male. Normal. I've only been to Midtown, New York-wise tonight. Because we ate at such a straight, like, bar place, like a pub bar, like anything you would find on, like, 37th Street and, like, 10th Avenue. Surrounded by Irish boys who take the path into New York from New Jersey. It's like going out in the Hell's Kitchen. We know from our city that there's better stuff to check out. You just have to find it between the hours of like 4 a.m. to like noon underneath a 7-Eleven, but it's gonna be like everything.
So I was so disappointed at Club Cafe. I felt like people here are very FOMO. They need to loosen up. It's just like people trying to not talking to you because they try to be nice and polite. That's not right. They like you have to come say hi and like stand with us, not like stay in your group. Technique, okay. Wow.
Whoa.
Oh yes, oh yes. They're supposed to stack them out. Oh my God. You guys put all the blocks on the floor? Oh my God. That's why no one lost. Queen of playing Jenga wrong. I'm the winner.
people that will make them feel good.
So
Then I asked for an idea to come to me, and I waited 2 years. And so I only cut the feet out of my pantyhose one time to go to a party. I put it on under white pants with strappy gray heels, and it gave me a smooth look in my clothes, and you couldn't see any undergarments. And because I had set that intention and asked so specifically for my idea, I was ready. Like anything that crossed my path, I was like, are you my idea? Maybe you're the idea I've asked for. I do have the pair of pants that inspired it all, and they're actually framed at the Spanx headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia.
Trans models, and Michelle Finnemore, Penny Bennett, curator of Fashion Arts, Museum of Fine Arts, Boston.
I am currently wearing an article of women's clothing. You already know it's not Spanx, and I'll tell you this, the article of women's clothing I'm wearing is actually visible. Anybody have any idea what it is? Nobody?
Pocket
My pocket square. This is actually a women's pocket square. I wear pocket square every day. I buy it from the same store all around the world. And if they don't have a men's pocket square, I often say to them, can I look at some of your women's selection? They always, more often than not, give me a weird look like, why do you want to see our women's collection? And one day I'm going to open a mouth to them. I'm going to say to them, the question you should really be asking yourself perhaps is, why do you even have pocket squares for women? That's a men's item. What I really want to say to them is, why does this pocket square, which is 18 by 18, the exact same dimension as a men's pocket square, why does this pocket square cost $35 more for women than for men? We are so excited to have these two here. We talked about gender-bending fashion a little before we got up here. We think of it as such a 20th century, 21st century phenomenon, but it really is ancient. I mean, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, tunics and togas were unisex.
Of course.
How far back do you trace it?
So for the exhibition, Gender Bending Fashion, which opens March 15th at the Museum of Fine Arts, I'm looking really at mostly 19th and 20th century fashion, 20th and 21st primarily. A little dip into the 19th century and a little bit further into the 18th century, but primarily when we think about what is our most straightforward idea of men's fashion and women's fashion, it's a man in a suit and a woman in a dress. And what we're experiencing now is this amazing kind of breaking of that binary understanding of gender. And we're seeing it on the runways, we're seeing it on the streets. It's really incredible what's happening now, but there is precedent for it. So there will be a dip back to look at key figures like Marlene Dietrich, who very famously wore the tuxedo in Morocco. We'll look at David Bowie and his gender-bending style. But then really also, like, when did women start wearing pants? And when did pink start becoming a color associated with women and blue for men? So it really is, it delves much deeper. A lot of it's driven by, really a millennial generation that is questioning, boundaries and binaries.
You grew up in Thailand, where gender fluidity is far more common, but that you were not necessarily accepted. I mean, if I remember correctly, your official document for a long time, and perhaps still to this day, still said that you were male.
Yes, correct. I just get my ID card changed last year.
It's amazing it took so long. When you were growing up, was fashion a way for you to escape or find comfort or experiment with your identity? How did you use fashion to express yourself?
When I was growing up, so my family, my uncle, he was a president of Thai Boxing Association. So growing up, it's very masculine household. And I was put into an all-boys school. So at house, at school, it's all masculinity. And I grew up, I was a very feminine boy. I decided to start medically transition when I was 15, but I realized that I was trans when I was 5. So going to 7-Eleven in front of near to my house and getting Vogue magazine is kind of like a route to escape from masculinity world.
And you weren't modeling in Thailand. You had to come to America to really do that.
I started as a model in Thailand, as a hair model.
as a hand model, but not
Hair
or a hair model. Sorry. And so when you come to America, you're not immediately accepted as a model. I mean, you sort of, and this is part of the inspiration for starting trans models. Tell us about that.
Sure. I moved to New York City in 2010. See that being trans person is one get me ahead of my modeling career. So because of that, during that time, I also worked as a fashion stylist for Vogue Paris for Peche. She did a lot of fashion for Vogue Paris. So I see a lot of opportunity because I work with trans people at onset, and I just really want to bring talents and form our group together to be more like solid base and foundation. When I first started it, I signed 19 models, including trans men, trans women, and gender non-conforming. And we expand from fashion to fashion and film. I mean, from fashion and television.
And so back to you, Michelle. I mean, fashion and film go together. I mean, media goes together that way. I mean, we're seeing so much blurring of gender, and it's getting more and more acceptable. But I still think there's a kind of classic double standard. I think there's still a double standard when women experiment with men's fashion. We think that looks chic and sexy, and when men experiment with women's fashion, something seems off.
Something seems off, yeah. And I think that one of the sections of the exhibition will explore the idea of men in skirts, and historically, who has actually proposed men. And even as early as 1960s, there was a French designer proposing to put men in skirts, kind of kilt-like garments. Granted, they had shorts underneath, but so, and people have revisited this over time, but it's never really taken off. And so why is it? And I think that because our ideas of what is appropriate for particular genders is so entrenched. So it's kind of amazing to me, and women, even women who like to wear suits, for example, have historically had a hard time finding a tailor who can fit their body well, because it's a female body rather than and now we have designers who are popping up who are fitting females, trans people. They're really adjusting the way they look at the human form.
Well, I mean, you think of those classic moments. You think of Yves Saint Laurent, the smoking, the tuxedo for women. You think of Diane Keaton, of course, as Annie Hall. Those are such iconic things, and you cannot think of a moment where there's gender fluidity the other direction, where a man, you can talk about Bowie and glam rock, and that was a moment, but they're rock stars, and that they're not real people.
It's a different impetus. Yeah, it's true. So what I find really fascinating about what's happening now is that you are seeing more in terms of experimentation with men's fashion and attire. And will this have lasting impact, or is it going to be another one of those little historical blips on the, like the kind of dandified peacock movement of the 60s? So, what we're trying to do is really capture a moment in time, and who knows what lasting power it will have.
Peche, how important is it for you to always look feminine? Do you always wear a dress? Do you always wear a skirt?
Not always. I'm not always like to wear a dress. Like today, I'm wearing like kind of pantsuit that which inspired by Coco Chanel.
As you grow your business, and much as I wish you enormous success with it, in a perfect world, if the world goes the way it should, I would argue, there should be no need for a trans model agency. Do you hope in a way that, much as I wish you success, do you hope in a way that trans models are just accepted, that there doesn't need to be a trans model agency?
I'm not sure, but I feel like trans model is not just a modeling agency, but it's educational force that we try to educate people on the topic that it's just a simple, basic thing that is happening in an ancient time that we have to talk about it today. Even like people just want to wear something that's feminine, we got bullied by that. So it's constantly educational forces that we have to keep doing, so people more get influence from us and inspired to do the same.
And I know you have another business, you have T-Day, and you wanted to make an announcement about it.
Sure. I also co-founded T-Day app. It's like Tinder for trans people. So we have 45,000 users and 5,000 users active per month.
That's fantastic. That's really
One thing I found so fascinating about the trans modeling agency and kind of this movement now is that, again, we were chatting about this earlier, historically, designers like Jean-Paul Gaultier had put trans models on the runway in the 90s. It just wasn't known necessarily, or they didn't really bring it out, but it was there. And again, historically, there's so much of this that has been happening over time, it just hasn't been addressed. So.
And Peche, do you see a change since you founded the agency? Do you see the sea change? I mean, does it feel much more open than when you started it?
Yes, so when we first started it, only 3 trans models were booked during New York Fashion Week. Today, in 2018, we have 59 trans models have booked for the show this year. So it's incredible.